Greetings, sisters and brothers, friends, comrades. I want to say a few words about our beloved Uganda as usual. So, as many of you know, the president-elect, Robert Kyagulanyi, aka Bobi Wine, is in the United States right now. And that's important. And I'll tell you why. Until Donald Trump was elected for a second time, Uganda was getting $900 million, almost $1 billion every year, U.S. taxpayer money. And of course, that money was meant to support the Ugandan people, but under the kleptocracy, this corrupt regime, military dictatorship of General Yoweri Museveni and General Amazon 4-star imbecile Muhoozi. A lot of this money was being embezzled. All these accounts are in the newspapers in Uganda, so we know of that. There's no denying that. So that has stopped now. That 900 million is gone. So that is actually one of the positive things that has materialized. Now, Bobi Wine has been engaging with members of parliament. As you guys call it in Uganda, members of parliament. Here they call them senators and members of the House of Representatives. Collectively, they're members of Congress, senators and representatives. He's been having those meetings. And those meetings are important because without the United States, this military dictatorship of General Museveni would have collapsed a long time ago. Ugandans can do the job, but Ugandans don't want the United States to be standing in the way, or the EU, or Britain, for that matter, and all the other countries that have been supporting this military dictatorship in Uganda. So these meetings are very important for President-elect Bobi Wine. And mind you, here's where I want to discuss semantics. Words are very important. When you win an election, you become president-elect, then you're sworn in. The person who loses the election is the opposition. So I notice some people refer to Robert Kyagulanyi, aka Bobi Wine, as the leader of opposition. How can he be leading opposition when he won the presidency of Uganda? Just because Museveni is refusing to allow him to get sworn in, does that nullify his victory, his overwhelming defeat of dictator General Museveni? Of course not. So start using the correct terms. I noticed even some NUP members refer to Museveni as quote-unquote president. How can you lose an election and be president? So think about these things. Think about every word that you utter. Robert Kyagulanyi is president-elect. Museveni is military dictator / leader of opposition. He's opposing the will of the Ugandan people. How do you become president? Mandate of the people. And how do you earn the people's mandate? By getting their votes. So we can't have somebody campaigning for months like Bobi Wine did. You saw those massive crowds, hundreds of thousands of people showing up, millions voting for him. He wins, and then you refer to him as leader of the opposition? What kind of nonsense is that, right? So from now on, use the correct term. President-elect. He's not been sworn in, but he's president-elect. He is much more legitimate than Muhoozi or Museveni. So if you want to refer to anybody as member of opposition, use that term for Museveni and Muhoozi. Now let me make a few other suggestions here. First of all, let's thank the armed forces of Uganda again. Not all of them are bad, because if all of them were bad, Bobi Wine would not be alive today. He would not. Think about it. As I said in my last commentary, your house surrounded by hundreds of soldiers and police force, helicopter flying overhead. 2 months later, you make it to the United States. How can that happen? That means the people who were sent to harm you They looked on one side, they saw the corrupt, murderous General Museveni and Muhoozi, the imbecile. They looked on the other side, they saw a young man who is loved and admired by Ugandans for his acumen, his intelligence, his charisma, and his bravery, right? To stand up to Museveni and Muhoozi. Everybody knows it takes bravery, because even Museveni's, some of his colleagues, where are they today? Aronda, Kazini, Ayume, all these names, Mayombo, where are they? And people know why they are no longer alive. People know that, right? So for anybody to be so bold to stand up to Museveni, not once, but multiple times, even after Arua, when he was tortured and almost killed, he went to the US for treatment. He came back to Uganda in the belly of the beast and ran against the dictator. 2021, defeated him. And the dictator refused to allow him to get sworn in. So Ugandans, we cannot have this recurring, multiple renewal of dictatorship every 5 years, right? That is why you must ask yourself every day, am I doing everything within my power to bring an end to military dictatorship in Uganda? Organize with other Ugandans, get together, whether it's protests, digitally, in person, engaging with the leadership in the outside countries that support Uganda vigorously, just like President-elect is doing right now, Bobi Wine is doing in the United States. This is not Bobi Wine's battle. This is a collective Ugandan battle, as I keep saying in all my commentary. One final word, and this is to the members of NRM. Not all of them are bad. Many of them are also victims of this same military dictatorship. They don't want to end up like Ayume or Mayombo and all that, but this is my suggestion for them. Why can't we all work collectively as Ugandans, even members of NRM? You know Museveni has a military dictatorship in Uganda. He's 82. He's been there for 40 years. He's blocking our collective progress. So members of NRM can play a very critical role in transitioning Uganda to a democratic environment where we compete on ideas and initiatives, and we collectively build the new Uganda for this current generation and the next generation. So NRM members who really care and love Uganda, care about Uganda and love Uganda, join in the collective struggle to end the military dictatorship in Uganda. Asante sana, aluta continua.